Now, to begin the design showcase, I would like to invite the team from Swinburne University of Technology Sarawak to deliver their presentation on sustainable production of palm oil-derived biodiesel. After the presentation, there will be a short Q&A section, which will be moderated by Professor Lam Hong Leong from University of Nottingham, Malaysia. Without further ado, I now welcome Bong Ying onto the stage to present the team's design project.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. I'm Zhang. Apologize from our side that I'm the only one who can make it physically to this event, but I'm having majority of my group member connected online. So I'd like to introduce my team to every one of you here. And first, I'll have Abdulqader as our project leader, and also Chandeepa, me myself, Tharindu, Shaffaf, and Osob. Unfortunately, Osob cannot make it for the session today. And also, most importantly, our supervisor, IR Dr. Hao, who present physically here today. So it is an honor for us today to have this opportunity to present our final research project with the title of Sustainable Production of Palm Oil-derived Biodiesel. Okay, so this will be the overview of our presentation today. So it will be divided into 4 sections, where I'll be the one who present on the project background and the first part of process description, followed by Shaffaf to continue on with the second part of process description, and Abdulqader will take over the floor to continue on with the key strength and performance and also the conclusion. So that will be the overall structure of our presentation today. So without further ado, let's begin with the project background. So the bar chart illustrated in the left side here shows the price of crude palm oil, which is also known as CPO of Malaysia in the year 2022. So we can see that the CPO prices experienced a drastic drop throughout the year. So according to Ismail, the drastic drop is due to the supply of CPO being higher than the food demand. And hence, the recent drop suggests that palm oil industry needs to diversify its downstream product in order to enhance its resiliency. And one promising way is to utilize the CPO to produce biodiesel. So in the year 2006, the Malaysian government has introduced National Biofuel Policy in order to support the use of sustainable and environmentally friendly energy sources. In order to minimizing the dependency on the fossil fuel, it is also important to stabilize and further enhance the palm oil prices. So under this policy, there are 5 trends being introduced with the main component of transport, industry, technologies, export, and also for a cleaner environment. So our design has been incorporated with the to tackle on with the sustainable development of goals, which include SDG 7 and also SDG 13. Where SDG 7 aims to provide affordable and clean energy, whereby SDG 13 urges to take urgent action in order to combat the climate change and also its impact. So the dependency, in order to decrease the dependency on the depleting fossil fuel, alongside with the increasing awareness of environmental issue and also the concern of increasing emission of greenhouse gases and also the escalating petroleum prices have led to the concerted effort in the search of renewable energy in order to tackle with this goal. And again, it is a point of our project, the production of biodiesel. So a market survey has been conducted in both global and local market, and with the positive potential market, the production rate of 7,500 kilograms per hour with the operation rate of 8,000 hours per year was selected. And 5 different feedstocks were benchmarked and against 6 criteria, which include safety and health, feedstock availability, environmental impact, potential economic evaluation, product yield, catalyst. And by carrying out an analytical hierarchy process, palm oil was deemed as the best feedstock in this project. So moving on into the second part of my presentation, the process description. The production of biodiesel can be simply divided into 3 sections, where the first one will be the esterification process as the pre-treatment, and also the trans-esterification as the primary process of our project, and also the glycerol purification as the post-treatment process. In the esterification process, Fatty acid will react with alcohol in the presence of acid catalyst, which in our case we have chosen sulfuric acid, whereby trans-esterification is an exothermic reaction involves the conversion of triglyceride contents in the oil into usable biodiesel. And trans-esterification involves the 1 mole of triglyceride with 3 moles of methanol in order to produce 3 mole of methyl ester and also 1 mole of glycerol. And the catalyst being chosen in this process is sodium hydroxide, whereby for glycerol purification, sodium hydroxide will react with the catalyst in a neutralization process. And this process is important to treat the salt and also further centrifuge wash to separate the glycerol from the products. So that will be my part, and I'll now pass my floor to my group members, Shaffaf. Shaffaf, please.
Thank you, Zhang. Regarding the PFT, the process flow diagram can be classified into 3 sections. The first phase would be the esterification, where there is a 1 CSTR centrifugal tank as well as a vacuum distillation. Followed by, we have the trans-esterification phase, which consists of 1 CSTR and 1 vacuum distillation column. And finally, we have the biodiesel and glycerol purification, which is achieved by a neutralization CSTR followed by centrifugal tanks and vacuum distillation for further purification in glycerol and methanol purification phase. Moving on, we have the reactors. Regarding the selection of reactors, we use a 3-axial flow CSTR which was adopted since the 3 reactions are liquid-based and requires a heavy mixing. Further, as the esterification reaction is endothermic, while the trans-esterification and the neutralization reactions are exothermic, we use a cooling and heating jacket is used to maintain the isothermal operations of the reactor. And reactors are operated within the temperature range of 25 degrees Celsius to 70 degrees Celsius. Moving on, we have the vacuum distillation column. A total of 4 distillation columns can be found to be used in the process flow diagram. The first 2 are of the esterification and trans-esterification phase to recover the methanol, and then the other 2 comes in the later phase for purification of biodiesel and glycerol. We have adopted the vacuum distillation column for its high recovery percentage, which in turn also reduces the wastage. Also, for vacuum conditions are obtained by using steam ejectors. Moving on, we have the planned layout overview. So this is the designed overview of our plant. It was designed using the SketchUp Pro software. All design constraints are based on the Global Asset Protection Service Guidelines, also known as the GAPS. So now you can see here the plant layout fire extinguisher. So this is based on the plant is designed with all the necessary safety constraints required. It is equipped with all firefighting equipment as well as required in the designated area. You could see that is the red firefighting pipelines running through the process plant itself, and also the other necessary fire extinguishing equipments equipped around the building and the vicinity. Some of the notable features would be the planned firefighting extinguishers and the safety relief valves. Now, I would like to take you through a plant layout walkthrough. So as you can see, we have designed a plant layout. Sorry, we have a video to play. So as you can see, this is the entrance of our plant starting, and then as we go through, this would be the process plant area equipped with all the equipments and laid out with all the fire extinguishing requirements. And this is the operations room. So moving on, we have the closer look of all the equipments. This would be the pumps as well as the reactors, and followed by other equipments as well. You could also see we have carefully designed the distillation column as well. Moving on, we have the administration building, which also has the fire marshal's building, and this would be the entrance for the trucks. And then this is the cooling tower as we have designed. And then followed by the cooling tower, we have the wastewater treatment area. And this is the storage for raw materials as well as the products. And then this would be the accommodation for staff and the team to stay in the vicinity. Moving on, we have the project aspects. So the project aspect is mainly focused on 4 different areas. That would be the environmental, safety and control, economy, and energy, as you can see. So in terms of environmental study analysis, we have focused on environmental impact assessment, which is the EIA, as well as the environmental monitoring plan. Moving on, we have taken a closer look at the safety and control using HAZOP and HAZARD. So HAZOP stands for the Hazard and Operability Study, as well as HAZARD stands for Hazard Identification Study. So through careful study or analysis of these 2 studies, we have put forward a structured control system as well. To take a closer look at the economy, we have run through an economic feasibility analysis, and finally we have the energy. So energy study was conducted using heat integration as well as multiple heat exchanger network synthesis. Thank you. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Abdulqader.
Thank you, Shaffaf and Ying for sharing about our project. So this is Abdulqader speaking, and I'm honored to be presenting here, although virtually. Anyhow, now that you know more about the project, you may wonder about the project's key strength and performance. Well, there are 3 particular strengths of this work. First, it contributes towards the development of the palm oil industry. Secondly, it complies with circular economy. And lastly, it promotes effective energy recovery. Let's dive deep into each strength, shall we? So how does this project contribute towards the development of the palm oil industry? Well, as mentioned previously by my teammate Ying, the downstream products of the palm oil need to be diversified in order to enhance its resilience. And by using palm oil to produce biodiesel, this could be a viable way. Not to mention, this will provide an opportunity for Malaysia to tap into upcoming markets as the biofuel market is growing more than ever. This will also provide an uplift to the country's economy by providing job opportunities. For instance, a biodiesel production plant would provide several job opportunities as it needs several engineers, technicians, and many more employees. This project will also promote the sustainability of palm oil. So there's this misconception that chemical engineers would often work in oil and gas and contribute towards environmental issues. But this is totally not true. A chemical engineer is a universal engineer and is in fact our responsibility to be in the forefront of combating climate issues. And we have displayed it in this work by proposing a sustainable biodiesel production plant. We know that palm oil is currently demonized in the West for its climate change issues, but we found out that this is in fact untrue through this work, and that palm oil is actually a sustainable choice. So moving on, this project also complies with circular economy as mentioned previously. This is achieved by recycling the produced glycerol as raw material to the centrifugal tank in the esterification stage, while the remaining glycerol is sold as a byproduct. In this way, the plant can self-sustain itself while profiting from the byproduct as well. Moving on, to achieve an effective energy recovery system, energy recovery through heat integration was performed to ensure minimum utilities while maintaining profitability. This is done through pinch analysis to obtain the minimum required energy utilities. Then, P-HENS is used to identify all the possible heat exchanger network designs. Fear not, I'll be sharing more about P-HENS in the coming slides. So using P-HENS, multiple heat exchanger networks were synthesized to provide situational and qualitative advantages. It is imperative to synthesize multiple heat exchanger network designs because one sole optimal heat exchanger network identified may not necessarily be a practical one in real industrial implementation. This is because the mathematical model to identify the best heat exchanger network does not consider other factors such as safety constraints or pipeline complexity. So to show the results of our heat exchanger network designs, the bar chart on the left shows the annual capital cost of 4 different heat exchanger network designs. The first one, which is the base case heat exchanger network, is identified manually using the conventional method, whereas the 3 results are the top results synthesized from using P-HENS. Now, if you compare the costs, it's obvious that the heat exchanger network design generated by P-HENS all achieved a lower capital cost than the one identified manually. This is to be expected as it's very difficult to identify the cheapest cost manually, especially for a complex problem. And this is why we need the help of a computer tool such as P-HENS. Since we have more than one solution, we have also compared each solution based on its heat exchanger pipeline complexity as shown on the table on the right. We defined the complexity based on the heat exchanger matching location of the plant, which are categorized based on the 3 sections in the process flow diagram, as mentioned previously by my teammate Shaffaf. We can see that although P-HENS solution 1 has the cheapest capital cost, it does not have the simplest heat exchanger pipeline complexity, whereby P-HENS solution 3 is the simplest heat exchanger network design, as it has only one heat exchanger with high pipeline complexity. This is to show the importance of generating more than one solution and how P-HENS, a computer tool identified from research, can help to aid in yielding good designs and aid in decision making. So you might be still curious about P-HENS as I keep on mentioning it. Well, P-HENS is a software that is capable of generating all the possible heat exchanger network designs of a problem that meets the minimum energy requirement. The two brilliant brains behind this software are Mr. Akos Orzos and Professor Frank Fredler, where P-HENS was founded in 2020 with the paper shown here on the left titled Multiple Solution Heat Exchanger Network Synthesis for Enabling the Best Industrial Implementation. So after choosing the heat exchanger network design, this is the updated process flow diagram with the heat exchanger network. So this brings me to the conclusion of the presentation. The key takeaway points from this presentation is that the palm oil industry has great potential to grow as the biofuel market can actually be a catalyst towards that growth. Not to mention, it can aid in the transition to renewable and clean energy sources to attain SDG 7 and SDG 13. This is especially important to combat the current pressing environmental issues such as global warming and climate change. But last and not least, we saw how research was pivotal for our work and the work shown earlier today, which highlights how research and development is pivotal and essential towards the progression of the industry. Okay, so here are the references used for this work, for this presentation. And before we end our presentation, we would like to show our gratitude towards IR Dr. Wendy, IR Leong Wei Dong, Professor Frederick Frank, and Mr. Akos Orzos for the support towards this project. Lastly, we would like to thank the sponsor of this work, Desmet Balestra, and a.k.a. POPSIG for giving us this opportunity and platform, as well as all the Swinburne family for their consistent support, especially our supervisor, IR Dr. Hao Bing Shen, who this project would have not been possible without. Thank you all, and we would love to attend to any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Bong, Zhang and his team online. Now, I would like to pass the stage to Professor Lam to moderate the Q&A session.